It's one thing to make a mistake in a regular season game, but a game-changing call in the Super Bowl?
We knew it was going to be tough going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I didn't know we were going to have to play the guys in the striped shirts as well.
Let's all soak together and dive into the worst officiating mistakes in Super Bowl history. Super Bowl 59, A.J. Brown's offensive PI call. The Philadelphia Eagles wound up crushing the Chiefs 40-22 in Super Bowl 59 anyway, but come on, let's not let the refs entirely off the hook. On the Eagles' opening drive, Jalen Hurts hit A.J. Brown for a big gain on 4th down. However, the catch was called back because of offensive PI on Brown, which forced the Eagles to punt.
Don't like that one bit. It's too critical of a game. What do you think, Mike?
Certainly I agree when you...
Sheesh, the refs ought to be happy that the Eagles won, otherwise they would have never lived this one down. Super Bowl 57, James Bradberry's holding penalty. Super Bowl 57 between the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles was shaping up to be a top 5 all-time Super Bowl game. Count on none other than the NFL refs to tarnish this game's legacy though. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts both played near-perfect football throughout the entire contest. Facing a 3rd and 8 situation in the red zone after the 2-minute warning, Mahomes missed Juju Smith-Schuster on a deep pass to the end zone. However, Eagles star corner James Bradberry was flagged for defensive holding on Smith-Schuster. As the Eagles only had one timeout left, the Chiefs were able to melt most of the clock and let Harrison Butker kick the game-winning field goal with 8 seconds remaining. Man, even if that was holding, you're really gonna throw a flag at that stage? Man, I still can't believe that is how one of the best Super Bowls ever had to end. Super Bowl 53, Stephon Gilmore's defensive PI goes uncalled. Super Bowl 53 between the New England Patriots and Los Angeles Rams certainly doesn't go down fondly in the minds of most. You know, unless you're a diehard Pats fan. Remember, most people were tired of the Patriots at this point, long before the Chiefs dynasty ever started. Also, most fans were pissed that the Rams got into the Super Bowl over the New Orleans Saints because of the infamous Nola no-call incident. Oh, and did we mention it was also the lowest scoring Super Bowl in history? Boring! The silver lining in all this is that the ending was semi-exciting. The Sony Michel touchdown put the Patriots up 10-3 with 7 minutes left, but Jared Goff had his Rams on the cusp of tying it up late. Facing a 1st and 10 at the New England 27, Goff just missed wide receiver Brandon Cooks for a potential game-tying score. Take a close look though, and Patriots cornerback Stephon Gilmore got away with a clear-as-day pass interference. A month later, the NFL admitted that the refs missed the pass interference call on Gilmore. Super Bowl 56, Bengals screwed twice on one play. Remember what we said about the Rams getting screwed by that non-call near the end of Super Bowl 53? At least the refs, albeit a different officiating crew, made it up to them 3 years later. The Cincinnati Bengals were one defensive stop away from likely securing the franchise's first Super Bowl title. They had the Rams on the ropes, trailing by 4 points with 1:47 seconds remaining and facing a tough 3rd and goal situation from the 8-yard line. Now, there were 2 screw-ups here. One, look at how 3 of the Rams' offensive linemen get away with blatant false start penalties. Oh, and linebacker Logan Wilson was flagged for a tacky defensive holding infraction. But take a closer look though. Is this really defensive holding? Whatever happened to letting them play in a championship game again? The fresh set of downs led to Matthew Stafford throwing the go-ahead touchdown to Cooper Kupp with 1:25 left. The Rams defense forced a turnover on downs in order to ice the Super Bowl on their home turf of SoFi Stadium.
Wilson gets called for a defensive holding call on a 3rd and goal play, and it's just not holding.
You do you, refs. You do you. Super Bowl 40, Darrell Jackson's pass interference penalty. Super Bowl 40 is hardly worth remembering, you know, unless you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan or a hater of the Seattle Seahawks, because as most folks remember, this game was completely destroyed by horrible officiating that completely screwed Seattle. Late in the 1st quarter, Matt Hasselbeck bought some time and found a wide-open Darrell Jackson in the end zone to open the scoring. However, Jackson was penalized for a weak offensive pass interference call.
You know, when you think of push-offs, that's not the kind you think about, really.
That awful call forced Seattle to settle for a field goal instead of a touchdown. And to think, this wasn't even the worst call of the game. Super Bowl 40, Sean Locklear's game-changing holding penalty. Seattle was on the verge of taking the lead in the 4th quarter despite being on the wrong side of the officiating miscues. Trailing 14-10 early in the 4th quarter, Matt Hasselbeck found Jeremy Stevens for a huge 1st down near the Pittsburgh 2-yard line. However, the play came back because of a pathetic holding call on Sean Locklear.
They always say that you can call holding on any play, but what we saw there, I did not see holding.
3 plays later, Hasselbeck was picked off by Ike Taylor, only for the former to be curiously flagged for a block below the waist that was actually legal.
We think it's a bad call. If you cut a blocker, that's a penalty. But he made the tackle, and that's legal.
Pittsburgh would put the game away with an Antoine Randall L. touchdown pass to Hines Ward on a crafty trick play. Super Bowl 47, Jimmy Smith gets away with holding. Super Bowl 47 was living up to the hype in more ways than one. Brothers Jim and John Harbaugh faced off in the big game. This game looked kinda like it'd be a blowout early though, with the Ravens jumping out to a 28-6 lead early in the third quarter. Then, the infamous power outage, hence the Blackout Bowl name. This blackout arrived and delayed the game for 34 minutes, allowing the 49ers to recuperate and regain the momentum. The 49ers chipped away at the deficit and suddenly found themselves trailing by 5 points at the 2-minute warning. San Fran was 5 yards away from the lead, but a pair of incomplete passes by Colin Kaepernick brought up 4th and goal. The Ravens set the house after Kaepernick, forcing him to throw a deep ball to Michael Crabtree.
Lost it in the air. No flag. Incomplete. Coach Jim wants a holding call.
Look, come on. That is clearly a penalty going by the rule book. That is definitely a flag 9 times out of 10 in the regular season.
Jimmy Smith on the coverage.
And there was, Jim, a lot of contact in the end zone.
The Ravens melted most of the clock, conceded a safety, and tackled Ted Ginn near the midfield on his last-second punt return to win the Super Bowl. Just another Super Bowl decided by a brutal officiating mistake. Nothing new to see here, folks. Super Bowl 55, Tyrann Mathieu's pass interference penalty sinks KC. For the fans who hate the Kansas City Chiefs and think the refs are out there to rig it for them, we advise you to watch Super Bowl 55 on repeat. You know, the game where every single crappy call went against KC and benefited Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In a game like the Super Bowl, you either let them play or you don't. The refs let Tampa play, penalizing them only 4 times for 39 yards, while the Chiefs were penalized 11 times for 120 yards. They could not play. But without a doubt, the game's worst call came late in the second quarter with the Bucs up 14-6. 2 plays after Mike Evans drew a questionable 34-yard defensive PI call, the big-bodied receiver drew a laughable defensive PI call in the end zone against Tyrann Mathieu. Oh yeah, there's contact there, sure. The only issue is that the ball was completely uncatchable. Tom Brady would hit Antonio Brown for a touchdown in order to extend the lead to 15. That was pretty much the dagger for Kansas City, who couldn't rebound from that horrible officiating call in a 31-9 loss. Super Bowl 50, Jericho Cotchery's catch that wasn't. Arguably the most pivotal point of Super Bowl 50 between the Denver Broncos and Carolina Panthers came midway through the first quarter. On the first play of the drive, Cam Newton found Jericho Cotchery for what appeared to be a first down catch near Carolina's 40-yard line.
The receiver must maintain control of the ball, which he does. If I was in the booth, I would reverse this to a catch.
The officials ruled it incomplete, so Carolina head coach Ron Rivera threw the challenge flag. It looked like an open and shut review, with Cotchery getting a 24-yard reception, right?
After review of the play, the ruling on the field stands as called, is an incomplete pass.
Well, 2 plays later, Newton was strip-sacked and Malik Jackson scooped it up in the end zone for 6. The lead extended Carolina's deficit to 10 points, and the Broncos never trailed in a 24-10 victory. Super Bowl 43, missed block in the back on James Harrison's immaculate interception. There were 2 defining plays in Super Bowl 43. James Harrison's 100-yard pick 6 off of Kurt Warner to close out the first half, and Santonio Holmes' tiptoe game-winning touchdown catch in the waning seconds. However, there was also plenty of questionable officiating in this game, but the worst mistake by the Zebras came on Harrison's pick 6, aka the immaculate interception. Now, pay close attention to number 56 on Pittsburgh during Harrison's return. He clearly delivers a block in the back on Cardinals running back Tim Hightower, yet somehow gets away with it. Pittsburgh would go on to win 27-23. Super Bowl 54? Hey refs, this was roughing the passer. If you're in the crowd that the refs are in it to help the Chiefs, then look away. Facing a pivotal 3rd and 5 situation with just over 5 minutes to go, ago, the Chiefs forced an errant Jimmy Garoppolo pass to force a punt. Have a look at this angle though, and Ben Neiman clearly got away with helmet-to-helmet contact on Garoppolo that should have drawn a roughing the passer call. The refs missed an indisputable roughing the passer call. The Chiefs would score 2 touchdowns after that punt to put Super Bowl 54 away. But hey, what do you think was the worst officiating mistake in Super Bowl history? Was there any notable instance that we may have missed? Let us know in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.